debate. Hi, Petra.
Yes, hello, Gina.
Thanks for coming on the show, first of all.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. Why don't you start by telling the listeners about yourself and then tell us your story.
Okay. I don't know what to really tell you about myself. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I'm a legal assistant by trade. Although I've done many different things in life to make a living. And one was to work for a major corporation. And being the type of person that I am, I've seen some wrongdoing, and I thought that I would do the right thing and let the government know that there was some wrongdoing being done, pollution and environmentally wise. And upon doing that, the government here threatened me. And at that point in time, I've sent out some letters to various environmental groups who stepped in and decided to take the matters in their own hands. And it brought up Kennedy's River Watch Society to Bull River to help protect it. And our politicians were put on the hot seat as a result. And that's basically where my gang stalking days started. My whole family is stalked. It's stalked from everything from the utility companies to fire department, police, town officials. There's been a lot of violence as a result of this, including an assault by police officers that they were proven in court to have set that up. And since then, they involved the Freemasons and the Boilermakers Union. To the best of my knowledge, anyways, it's a very, very large group that stalks my family. And they do anything and everything in their power to make life hell, as the gang stalking victim would know. But now I've recently just moved away from the town that I was in, where the town officials were involved. There would always be the honking every time they went by, or the fire department would turn on their sirens as they went by, and then turn them off again, of course, as soon as they got past the building. I've had my utility services kicked out when I posted something on the internet about gang stalking. I was told, actually, that, and at the time I had both phone and internet connection with the same company, and they went and kicked that out, and that I was informed by the people that were fixing it that it had been booted. What else can I tell you? I put them on the hot seat when I took them to a mall and had security monitor them, and that was when the true gang elements came out, because they brought in so many different various gangs that the normal hand signals and radio communications were put aside. And yeah, it's been an interesting life, to say the least, and I really would like to draw attention to it.
What year did it start for you?
1999, 2000 is when it started.
And how did you notice that it was starting? I mean, what made you realize that you were starting to become a victim of this crime?
It was pretty easy, because we were living in a town that a lot of the employees of that corporation lived in, and of course, after the assault by the police, our children were assaulted in school constantly by children of these the perpetrators that we're involved with here. It became apparent that even the school officials were involved, because, I mean, at one point, one of my children ended up on a year's detention as a result. And meanwhile, they were getting sucker punched in school every day and that sort of thing. One child even jumped on top of my son's foot, and when my child pushed him off his foot, my son got the detention. So it was evident. My children were walking through a crosswalk in town, and they'd waited until the vehicles had come to a full stop. And then a van lurched forward and hit one of my children, knocked him to the ground. That's some of the tactics that have been used on us. birthday parties, for example, where my child gets invited and he's all excited because he gets to go to a birthday party. He's 8 to 9 years old. And when the parents leave, the children that are left in the house assault them with a hammer. Another incident, a fireman's son who now is out in the Water Valley area in Alberta, that family member, they left as well, and then the son took out guns that were supposed to be under lock and key and pointed one at my child. So this is the tactics that they're using out here to control people that might speak about what's wrong in society, because they don't want the public out here to know what the corporations and the government are actually up to.
When the gun was pointed at your son, what did the other child say to your son? Did he say anything? Did he threaten him?
Oh yeah, my child left the house. He was sitting outside the house crying when I picked him up. And once again, this is my other son. And he was in that age group again. They're very close in age, 8 or 9 years old at the time. So yeah, and then these are all part of the stalkers. And then I've had
Did he threaten your son though? Did he say, "I'm going to shoot you"? Did he say anything to him?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was outright threatening. I'd actually have to go talk to my son again it has been 8 years now. That was the very first few incidences that showed us what was going on. And then, of course, we were stalked by these very same vehicles. And it's never gone away. I've moved out of that town. I moved to another town, and then the town officials there, the town would go by and they'd honk their horn, and the fire department would go by and turn their siren on, and the police would go by and turn their siren on. I mean, it's pretty evident that there's a large group that's in play here in this area that likes to suppress people.
You had told me earlier in a prior conversation today about your husband being beaten up by the police. Can you share that with our listeners, that story?
Yeah, actually we were going down a country road, and we were stopped by the police, and we weren't asked politely to get out of the vehicle. We were told with vulgar language and screaming and yelling to get the fuck out of, excuse me.
That's okay, go ahead.
To get out of the vehicle. My children were in the back seat. And my husband was brutally assaulted by 4 police officers. By the time it was all said and done, there were 4 there on site. Mm-hmm. And in court, we had, at that point in time, too, when we went to court for the first hearings of this, the social workers tried to intervene and tried to remove my children before it ever got to court. This is just another one of their tactics, really. I put a stop to that by going above her head, because she was sitting there with the police officers going through the file as though we were already charged, convicted, and whatnot. But of course, as things turned out, our lawyer had managed to prove that they had actually set the whole thing up. And ever since then, I believe that the police feel that we've wronged one of their individuals, or some of their individuals, because they were reprimanded in court. Although at the time we could have gone ahead and sued for damages, but we didn't want any problems, and so we walked away thinking that, if we walk away, they leave us alone, and we leave them alone, and everything's fine. But of course, all they've really done is set the cults upon us in the meantime, and they continue to harass us at every turn that they can.
Was your husband taken to the hospital or the doctor?
Actually, he's a bleeder, and I had called my doctor to call the police department that was holding him to get him medical attention, and they also refused to do that at the time. So, yeah, I guess they were hoping that they'd prove their point, that they